Good morning, students. Today we shall discuss one of the term works that is based on UDP socket programming. So we know that UDP socket programming is based on connectionless service, wherein we are not going to establish any connection and then start communicating. In case of TCP socket programming, we need to first establish the connection and then we can establish the communication between the server and the client. But here in case of UDP socket programming, we need not have to establish, there is no connection established before communicating. That means the data that we want to send from the client to the server or from the server to the client, that will be sent with the help of packets. So each packet should know the address of the destination where they have to go, because here there is no connection that is already established. So every packet should know the address of the destination. That's very important here. So we need to create two things here. One is we need to have socket, whether a client is sending a message or a server is sending a message. Both sides we need to have a socket, and that is the datagram socket. So that we will be doing with the help of datagram socket class. And then we need to create packets. As I mentioned, whatever information or message that we want to pass from the client to the server or from the server to the client, it has to be sent through packet. That means we have to use the datagram packet class to create an object of that, and then using the send and receive methods, we can establish the communication between both the parties. So today we shall discuss one of the term works which is based on UDP socket programming. So we shall implement something like this. So let's have, at the client side, client should send a number, send an integer. Let's say client has to send an integer, and the server has to get this number, and this number should be multiplied with itself. So that is the job of the server. Server has to find this. After processing this, the result should be sent back to the client. So this, at the client side, it has to receive the result and result to be printed on the screen, on the console. So result to be printed. So this is the work that we are going to do using UDP socket programming. So as I mentioned earlier, every packet should know four things whenever something is sent. That is, if a client is sending a number, let's say it wants to send a number to the server. So what are the things that are required over here? When you create the datagram packet, it has to send four things. One is the data, what data it wants to send. For example, here we want to send a number, and what is the length of this data, that is length of the data, and then the IP address of the destination, IP address, and the port number, because the packet should know what data it is sending, what is the length of that data, where it is sending, and on which port number, because that server may be listening on different ports. See, there may be multiple applications running, right? So to which application we are sending this data should be made clear over here. So whenever a packet is sent, these four are must. Okay, so using these theoretical knowledge, we will try to write the program at the client side and as well as the server side, and let's establish the communication and get this work done. So to do that, let's switch on to our Eclipse IDE. So here we need to create two classes. So before doing that, I will create a new package. Let's call it as termwork package. Fine. So we have this termwork package in which I'm going to create the classes. So which classes we require here? One is the client. So let's call it as UDP client. UDP client. And here we need the main method also. So I'm going to check this checkbox so that we get the main method also. Fine. So at client side, we have to create the socket, datagram socket first. So for that, we will use the datagram socket class. Datagram socket ds equals to new datagram socket. New datagram socket. So this is how we create object of any class. Correct? Okay. So you can see that there is one error message that it is displaying. The reason is we have to import the package net because we are using the datagram socket class which is available in the net package. So we need to import it. So please remember this. Otherwise, if you just hover your mouse on this, it will give you suggestions. Import. Right now I will just import this. Import java.net. You can import only the datagram socket class, or if you want other classes also, then you can use a star over there. And it throws an exception, so that needs to be taken care of. So I will write here throws exception. Otherwise we have to place it in try catch block. So if we do this, we need not have to enclose these things in try catch block. So if you don't write this throws exception, then we have to place this particular statement within try catch block. Okay. So after creating this socket, what is the next thing? We have to send one number, correct? So let me take the number as int I equals to, let's say 4. I want to send this number. We have to get this in terms of bytes, because whenever we send data, it has to be in the form of bytes. So we need to get the byte equivalent of this. So I have taken the byte array for this. Let's call it as byte b equals to, and then first we will convert this integer to string, and then using the getBytes method we can get the byte equivalent of number 4. So to do that, I will write it as I plus and empty pair of quotes. So what it will do, see, whenever I have, say, int, here I have taken int I equals to 4. I want the byte equivalent of this I. So first let me convert this into string. So to convert this into string, what we will do, I plus this. So this is a number. When you concatenate this with empty string, so this thing will become a string now. So when we have a string object, if we use the getBytes, so there is a method called as getBytes which we can use with string objects. That is the reason I converted this integer type to a string so that I can call the getBytes method to get the byte equivalent of integer. Hope this is clear. So what we did, I plus this empty pair of quotes will give us a string, and then we can use the getBytes method. See, this getBytes method is a method which can be called on string object, right? So we have a string now, and we will assign this to the byte array B. So now we have the data in terms of bytes, and we need to send this data, right? So as I mentioned earlier, whenever we want to send the data, it has to be enclosed within packet. It has to be enclosed within packet. So for that, we need to create this datagram packet object. Let me call it as DP. Datagram packet DP equals to new datagram packet So here at the client side, we are planning to send the data to the server, right? So the packet should know what is the data to be sent, what is the length of the data, and where it is sending, what is the destination, the IP address of the destination, and the port number. So those four things have to be mentioned over here. Since the data that we are planning to send is in array B, I have written it as B. Now the length of the data. So how do we find the length of those bytes? That there is a function called as length. So that is B dot length. Now the third parameter should be the IP address of the server and the port number. So how do we get that? So let's see how to do that. So to get the IP address of the local host, because since my client and the server applications are running on the same machine, we can use the getLocalHost method, which is used with inetAddress class. So I will just get the IP address of this inet address. Let me take it as IA equals to inet address dot get localhost. So whenever you type something, it will show a lot of suggestions over here. Fine, and it needs to be closed. Fine. So what is there in IA now? We are getting the IP address of the local machine, that is localhost. So that is present in IA, right? So that should be passed as the third parameter, that is IA. And now we need to get the port number of that. So port number, let me assume the port number as A220. So before that, we have not yet created the datagram packet here, though I wrote it on the board there. So let me create that datagram packet DP equals to new datagram packet, and here we need to send the data which is there in B, and the length of the data is b dot length, and we have the IP address in the variable IA and the port number, let me take it as A220. So let's try with this port number, and then we have to send this data. So in DP, so this is done now, A220. So what is the statement that we have written over here? We are creating a packet. So this packet has to be sent to the server. So who will do that? See, whenever we create a packet, it doesn't mean that packet will go on its own. There should be somebody who will carry this, right? That is the reason we have sockets to connect with the destination. So we have already created that socket object. We have created the socket object, that is yes, DS, right? So DS is a carrier now. So DS dot send what we want to send. We want to send this packet. So using this socket DS, we will send the packet which holds the actual data that we wish to send to the server. So use this send method. Fine. So we have to write it as ds dot send, and what we want to send is the packet, that is DP. So this is at the client side. What about the server side? We need to create the server also here. So let me create a class and call this class as UDP server. So this is UDP server, and here too we require the main method, and let's say finish. Fine. Okay. Now at the server side, we need a socket here also. Alright. So when you are creating the socket at the server side, we need to mention the port number here. Why do we need to mention the port number here? Because the client should know to which application it wants to communicate with. That means server is listening on which port. That the server has to tell, right? So when you are creating the socket at the server side, it should mention on which port number it is listening to. So we have to again use the datagram socket class. Datagram socket, let me take it as ds equals to new datagram socket, and here the port number that I am using is 8220. So please observe that. So this is the port number that I will be using here at the client side, isn't it? So whenever here it is, when we created the packet, we are using the port number 8220. So once we create the socket, see here again it is showing an error. The reason is it has to import the package, as well as since it throws an exception, it has to be taken care of. And now what next? We have created socket at the server end also. See, when the client sends the packet, server should have a packet wherein it is going to receive that, right? So we need to have the byte array here also, because what we are sending from the client side is the byte array, isn't it? So that byte array should be received at the server end. So here too we need to create the byte array. So byte array, let me call it as B1. B1 equals to new byte. Let's take the size as 1024. You can take any size as per your requirement. Okay, so at this server side also we need a packet which can receive the byte array coming from the client. So we need a datagram packet here also. So this is datagram packet. Datagram packet dp equals to new datagram packet. Fine. And b1 comma b1 dot length. You can observe here, when I created datagram packet at the client side, I have passed 4 parameters. That is data and its length, the IP address and the port number of the server. Because the packet which is going to be sent should know where it is going. But at the server end, it is receiving that. So whatever packet is sent to it is received at the server end, isn't it? So we need not require these 2 parameters. IP address and the port number are not required when the data is received. It is required only when it is sent. So here we need not use those 2 parameters. We are just using these 2 things. So datagram packet dp equals to new datagram packet this. Okay, so we have done this, and you can observe that here I have imported java.net.datagram packet and datagram socket. So I have used 2 import statements. You can avoid doing this. If you do not want so many import statements, you can just write it as java.net.star. That will get all the classes which are there in this package. And now after creating the packet, that means packet is ready to receive the data. So who will receive that? Socket at the server end, that is DS dot, it will use the receive method. What it is going to receive? It's going to receive the packet, correct? So that is DS dot receive DP. So we have received this data. Now we have to convert this into a string, because we have got data in terms of bytes. So I would like to convert this into a string. So before doing that, I will just convert this into a string using before doing that, we have to get the data in terms of string. So that is new string using getData method, dp dot getData method. So this will get the data which is in terms of bytes. So right now we have the data which is in the form of string. See, we have got the data and we have stored it in a string variable. You can do it in two statements. One is you can get the data which is in terms of bytes array and then convert that into a string, or you can club this, like here I have written it as string str equals to new string dp.getData. That means the data that is received will be in the form of byte array that we are converting it into a string and we are storing it into a variable of type string, that is str. We have to convert this into integer now because our motto here is whatever number that is sent at the client from the client should be multiplied with itself and the result should be sent back to the client. So for that I will take an integer variable, let me call it as int num equals to, we need to parse that string into integer. So I am using integer dot parseInt, and here we need to use the variable str because str is the variable where we have the data which is in terms of string. So now we have converted that into an integer. What is the next thing? We have to find num into num, right? So num multiplied with num, and we are storing it in this. Fine. So what all we did so far is we created a socket at the server side, and whenever you are creating the socket at the server side, do remember that you need to mention the port number, because when the client wants to send something to the server, it has to know which is the port number to which it wants to transfer the data. So at the server side you have to mention the port number, and after that we are creating the empty byte arrays, that is B1, which can hold the data coming from the client, and we have to have a packet over here. So we have created that packet using the datagram packet class, and when you are receiving data you need not have to pass all the 4 parameters, only first 2 parameters are required here, because where you want to store the data and what will be the length of that, and using the socket object, that is ds, and the receive method, we are receiving the data, right? Receiving the data, that is ds.receive.dp. Now we need to get the data which is there in the packet. So for that we are using dp.getData, which will be in the form of byte array. But we need that in terms of integers. So directly converting bytes to integers will be a little complicated. So what I have done here is I have converted into that byte into string first. So for that I have written string str equals to new string dp.getData. So what this will do, this statement will get the equivalent string equivalent of the bytes, and then using integer.parseInt we are converting that string into a number. And here the problem statement is whatever number is received should be multiplied with itself and the result should be sent back to the client. So we have taken another variable res, that is result. So integer result equals to num into num. So we have the result variable which holds the final output. We need to send this back, right? See, whenever we want to send this back, again we need a packet here, and packet can hold the byte arrays. But what is the data that we have here is in the form of integers. So this integer should be converted back to byte arrays. So to do that, we have to get the bytes of this result variable. Let me take byte array b2 equals to. So we have seen that get bytes is a method. Get bytes is a method which work with string object. But what we have here? We have here is an integer. Correct? So how do you convert an integer to a string? We have seen that at the client side we did that number plus empty pair of double quotes. So that will make a number to a string, and then we can use the get bytes method. So same thing holds good here also. So here also I will be writing result plus this. So now we have got the result in the form of string now. So string to bytes we have to convert. So to do that we are using get bytes method. Get bytes. Correct? So in B2 we have the result which is in terms of byte arrays. So now we need a packet because this result should be sent back to the client. So we can create datagram packet. Let me call it as dp1 now because already we have dp earlier. Datagram packet dp1 equals to new datagram packet. Fine. See, now from the server we are sending the data back to the client. So here when we are creating the packet we have to pass 4 parameters. When you are receiving only 2 parameters, but when you are sending 4 parameters. So data to be sent back. So where is our data? That is there in B2 variable because we have converted all that into bytes which is there in B2. Length of this is B2 dot length, and now we need to pass the IP address. Correct? So we have already seen at the client side how to get the IP address. So I will use inet address IA equals to inet address dot get localhost. Right? So this will give us the IP address. So the third parameter is IA. Correct? And the port number. So how to get this port number? This is using dp dot get port. So what is the job of this? Why I am using this? So let's make this clear. Okay, earlier when we received the packet, when we received the data from the client, it was stored in a packet DP, right? So it knows the port number. It knows the port number of the client. So we have to write dp dot get port. That means it will give us the port of the client And after this, now the packet is ready. We need to send this ds dot send. What we need to send? Where is our data present? This is present in DP1, right? Fine. So now, so far what all we did? Client has sent the data and server has received it and it has processed and the result is sent back to client. So at the client side, we should receive the result. At the client side, we should receive the result. So how to do this? When we want to receive data at the client end, we need an empty byte array, correct? And we need to create a bucket which can hold the data that is coming from the server. So first we will create an empty byte array. So how to do that? Byte, let me take it as B1. B1 equals to new byte. Let me use the size as 1024. Fine. So this is the empty array of bytes and we have to create the packet, datagram packet, dp1 equals to new datagram packet. Right now we are receiving the data. So whenever we are receiving data, we have to mention only two things. What is the data and the length of the data. Only when we are sending, we require four things. So here we are receiving that. So when we are receiving, we need to receive that with the help of the socket. The name of the socket is ds here. And we need to call the receive method, and dp1 is the name of the packet, right? So we need to get the data from this dp1, right? We have received it. We have received the packet. We need to get the bytes from this datagram packet. So how to do that? That is using dp1 dot get data. So this will give us the byte array. But what we want here? We want it in the form of a string, isn't it? To be printed it. So I will just convert this into a string. So for that I will take a string variable, string str equals to new string, and the parameter passed over here will be the bytes. So now we get it in the form of strings. So here we have to print this now. The result should be printed on the console, right? So doing that is very simple. System.out.println. What we have to print? str. Correct? So terminate this with a semicolon. So this is the client program and the server program, and now we need to run this code. So let's run the UDP server. And now we have to run the client. So at the Okay, this is how we can make two-way communication using UDP socket programming. So there is a client which is sending a number to the server, and that number is processed by the server, and the result is sent back to the client, and client is receiving it and it is printing it on the console. So this is the two-way communication between the server and the client, and this is one of the term walks in your Java programming laboratory. Hope the concepts are clear to you, and execute this code, and if you get any doubts you can ask me and clarify your doubts, and we shall discuss one more term walk. To discuss this term walk, okay, let me take the same term walk package. Here I am going to create new class. Fine. Before I start writing the code, let me discuss what exactly we are going to do in this term walk. Well, this term walk is based on applet. We are going to create an applet which will show the student related information like roll number of a student, name, marks scored in different subjects, and finally it will show you the average marks scored by the student. Alright, so we are going to create an applet for this. So whenever we have to create an applet, our class must extend the applet class, right? For example, here let me take a class term walk applet. Then it has to extend the applet class, extend applet. Fine. So what are the components that we require here? What should be displayed on the applet? Roll number, label we require, name, marks 1, 2, 3, those labels we need, right? We have to create those text fields also, because the user should be able to enter those data. For that we require labels and the text boxes. See, the output should look like this. On this applet window we should get something like this: roll number, and there should be a text field provided, and name and the text field, subject 1 marks, subject 2 marks, and subject 3 marks. Okay, so once the user enters these, it should give me the average marks scored. Let me take a label, or you can take a text field which will display the average marks scored by the student. So to do this, we need the components like labels. These are all the labels and these are all the text fields. So how to do that? We have to use those text field class and also the label class, and with the help of those objects we can complete this term work. Now we know that whenever we are creating an applet, there is a method called as init method, right? So which is like a constructor. So whenever you run an applet, whatever you have, statements that you have included in the init will be executed. That means if you want to initialize something, when an applet is executed, when an applet starts running, those set of statements can be included in the init method. And then that init will automatically call the start method. So whatever processing that you want to do, you can write it there also. Or else you can even write, in this example, we can make it very simple. We can create a constructor, and in the constructor itself we can create all these components, all these widgets, and then we can make this possible, that applet can print all these required elements on that. So I will create the applet, Termwork applet. I will take the name as Termwork applet. Termwork applet. So this extends applet class, correct? See, it shows something over here. We need to import the applet class which is there in the applet package, correct? And as I mentioned earlier, you can have a init method, or you can even write the constructor over here. So Termwork applet is a constructor. It has to be public, of course, so I will take it as public, and then we will create all those text fields here. So how to do this? Text field T1 equals to new text field. So here it is showing some error. What is the error over here? We need to import the package. What package? See, whenever you just do this, it will show java.awt here. That means I need to import the awt package. Similarly, we have to create so many text fields. So how many text fields we require here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 text fields. So let me copy this. We are creating 5 text fields. So let me call them as T1, T2, T3, T4 and T5. Okay, so far we have created these text fields. In the similar manner, we have to create these labels also. So to do that, we have to use the label class. Label L1 equals to new label. Whatever label you wish to give should be provided as a parameter there. Okay. So that's all for today's lecture. The remaining part of this I will be covering in my next class. So meanwhile, you try to execute that UDP socket server, socket programming Termwork, and then you can just create this applet, and we shall see how we can create the labels and other components and get this particular applet running successfully. Okay. Thank you. Take care.